You're listening to the Life in General podcast with Tom and Jaye. An hour of informative commentary on today's headlines, current events, and what's going on around the world and around the corner. And now, here are your hosts, Tom and Jaye Darden.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Life in General podcast here with Tom and Jaye, coming at you with what I believe is episode 66. And if I'm wrong, well, fuck. But we're going to start this episode off the same way we do every time, and ask the man of the hour how he is down in sunny Ecuador. It needs to stop being so friggin' sunny up here, and see what's happening. So, hey Dad, how are you? And can you please advise whomever controls said weather to bring on fall?
Well, that's good. I'm doing good, doing well. Everyone down here is doing well. What is there to say? Life down here doesn't change much.
As intended, I guess.
Yeah, as I was explaining to someone the other day that we don't have air conditioning and we don't have heaters because the temperature doesn't fluctuate more than about 10 or 12 degrees every day. So you don't need them. So, we have a couple of fans to keep the air stirred up. But other than that, no AC and no heater.
That's in your residence. In the little hotel I stayed in, you bet your ass there was AC. And had to make sure that shit worked. And I mean, like, Meat Locker worked. I had little geckos coming in there and be like, hey, can I come chill with you? This is, the head of maintenance or whatever. And has a little homeboy with him and stuff. So, no, there is AC in Ecuador. It's just probably not in a lot of residents because they, just like you said, it doesn't fluctuate a whole lot. So why in the world would they have it, right? Just another expense that they would have to shell out for. So,
and you get used to it. After a while, you get used to it. It just doesn't change. It's not different. So it's tank tops and flip flops every day, man. So yeah, it's okay.
Yeah,
We're doing all right down here.
It's something. I was going to say, where in the world did you get a New York City Manhattan shirt? And that looks like it came straight out of a thrift shop.
It's probably it's a knockoff shirt. They sell knockoffs down here. I mean, when you see people walking around with Hilfiger and Adidas and Nike, and I mean, you name all the name brands, George Armani, all kind of stuff. And so, but they're all knockoffs. It's like the sunglasses I bought. They're Oakley. Well, we call them Folkley sunglasses because they're fake Oakleys. And everybody said, well, how do you know? Well, the A on the Oakley right here between the glasses is a trademark. And the A, the crossbar, well, one of the legs was gone past the crossbar. So that's how you could tell that it didn't say Oakley. This part of this leg was gone, and the cross. Yeah. So, yeah.
That seemed like a very elaborate way to flip everybody off. So just be mindful. You two, please don't come after us because we're trying to flip everybody off.
I asked the lady how much for a pair of sunglasses, and she told me $6. And so I said, well, how much if I buy 18 pair? And she said, oh, $3 a pair. So, yeah, so I bought 18 pair of sunglasses because they're a year-round gift, even in the wintertime. The sun's out in the wintertime, snow, bright sunglasses. So, yeah. And I know you've heard that story before.
Well, I was going to say, get some nice polarized lens sunglasses, ones that you'll keep forever. However, I did recently learn that the style of sunglasses that I have aren't exactly men's fashion appeal, right? Where they need to be something akin to like what pilots wear, like aviator, something similar to that, as opposed to the Oakley looking, like sporty looking kind of sunglasses, because they just don't go with a whole lot. Right? Right. You can wear them if you're doing some actual activity that requires a sunglasses that functions like that and looks like that. But, for the most part, they're from what you see online and stuff, they say, no, buy a pair of Warby Parkers or, a decent pair of aviator or, like bomber type sunglasses and then be done with it, right? And like hang on to them, and they'll last you for a while and stuff. So
I was watching a ball game with a guy the other day, and all the ball players have got the real big sunglasses. And he was like, oh my. He said, I've seen windshields in cars that aren't that big.
Oh, so, yeah, man. Like they're almost like a shield for their entire face.
Like,
yeah,
it's like huge sunglasses. And I was like, golly. Oh, and just to mention, Aaron Judd hit his, I think it's 53rd home run yesterday or night before last for the Yankees. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, I was going to say, how many chemicals is he on?
Well, he surpassed Roger Maris's record for so many home runs for so many games. It's like Roger Maris had hit 51 home runs in like 129 games, and Judge has surpassed that record, hitting like 52 or 53 in 129 games, and they still got probably 30 more games to go. And the Yankees were like 10 at one time when I looked, they were 10 games ahead in first place. They were 10 games ahead of second place team. So, but I think that lead has squandered considerably in the.
Hey, everybody, we're back. You're going to notice that I changed shirts, but Dad hasn't. He's keeping the illusion alive. It is very much the next day. I'm calling it. And yeah, it's wild. Actually, I was going to say, if you had a screen much like mine or Discord Premium, then you could potentially blend in where it's just your background and your shirt, so then you just look like a head floating around like I do when I'm at the office a lot of the times, or working from home. I just look like a head that's kind of floating, like Wizard of Oz. So, but yep, we're back in action. Had a blackout, you said? That's pretty wild down there. So if you saw us cut off and then we are mid-sentence and just and then hey, we're back. So super exciting. You get to be a part of the magic, so to speak, when it comes to media. Yay.
Yeah, the internet shut down. They had some kind of blackout in the city, and it affected the towers, which in turn affected the internet, which in turn shut me down. Yeah.
Tuna.
Yeah, we're still trying to get out of the 3G world down here. Y'all are operating on 5G, and
we got something now that's called like 5G plus.
Oh my God, we're trying to get out of the 3G network. So,
well, what's super exciting is there's 5G plus, but unless you keep up with it, you don't know what the hell that means. Much like when it had 5G. Which is not 5G. That's not what you're getting, but instead it's 5G eligible, right? So it potentially meant you are in an area right now that's going to get 5E, but you're not there yet. But it certainly did say 5E on your phone, so everyone was like, "Oh my God, it's 5E!" And they're like, "Fucking idiots, man!" I'm the idiot. It's great.
They don't have bucket trucks down here, so these cats still shimmy up a ladder. Lean against the pole or lean against some wires, and they don't just go up and disconnect your thing when they cut you off. They jerk your wire out of the pole, and you'll see wires hanging down from the poles and stuff here where they've just jerked your wire loose. So there ain't going to be no shimmying up the pole and reconnecting.
The lovely people from G.I. Joe would say that's very unsafe behavior. Just having wires just hang down and getting people's way and all that shit. So
I'll send you a picture next time I get up close to a telephone pole, because it looks like a big plate of Italian spaghetti with everything, man. I mean, it's just there's no rhyme or reason to any of it, but it works. So I'm not mad at them.
Well, I
got a light on, so
yeah, that's the thing. As long as you have light and internet, I mean, you're totally fine. And it's something that's kind of interesting too, right? Because you guys might have what would be perceived as antenna or whatever down there, albeit it's in Spanish. It was fun to finally win the proverbial battle back in the day, or some time ago, with Gina, right? When we went finally from paying like $350 a month, paying cable, right? And that was cable and internet. That was the whole package, right? That was, the cable box had a hand that pops out and, does this and, and, it was fine. But it wasn't worth it. So instead, then we moved to just internet, which then I just started to pick up that tab for. And then, so she could save, $350 a month. We would have internet that would be insane speed on top of unlimited, like gigabytes in terms of downloads potential. And then we just streamed everything. And the only hard part was that some people still like sports, and I'm thinking to myself, then go to the fucking bar and watch the game, or you have family members, so go hang out with them and watch the game. However, there was a point in time when we were banned from watching one of the we were banned from watching the Titans with one of her brother's families because we had a streak. Every time we would watch with them, they would lose. So.
There you go.
Yeah, we very much got uninvited from banned from watching certain sporting events with them. So it was pretty humorous. But
I was talking to a guy the other day from Germany, and we were talking about sports, and he said I have DirecTV, so about 4 days a week on DirecTV on one of the channels, you'll get a professional baseball game. Like tonight, the Colorado Rockies are playing Atlanta Braves, and it starts at like 6:30 here because it's 7:30, Atlanta, that kind of deal. And you can get that on your regular direct. And there's no commercials in between innings. They just talk, now it's all in Spanish, but I don't listen to the sound anyway. But anyway, Wolfgang was telling me that he went from DirecTV to Star TV, and it's all sports. It's all sports. It's hockey, it's basketball, it's soccer, it's football. He said everything, all kinds of sports on there. So I thought, that might be something to look into. But yeah, he said he got rid of
Quit spending all of our money.
He's more into I think Direct's $48 a month, and you get like 600 channels or something like that. It's a dish kind of deal that they
gotcha. Well, that being said, money or not, like, sports is fine. I would love to have a conversation with that person and ask them, how much actual new content do you see per game? Because we looked it up, right? We looked at the statistic of how much new media or new content is in a freaking game, and it's bananas how short a game actually is, right? How many active new plays do you see? Not repeats, not commercials, not referees or judges conferring or whatever, just seeing new sports. It's so infinitesimal that it's not fucking worth like looking at, how do you turn a 60-minute game into a 3.5, 4 hour venture? And it's just bananas. Like, it's just literally done now to have sports fans or people pay obscene amounts of money to try to burg with folks and then be given media that says buy something or you're not good enough without X, Y, or Z. It's just, It's absolutely outrageous.
Yeah, I don't watch enough TV to try to log in on the sports. I happened by accident to catch this one channel that shows them about 4 times a week, but yeah, and I don't normally. Sometimes I'll watch a ball game, but I might make it to the 4th inning before it's bedtime for me. So, and they're not interesting enough most of the time.
Well, that's just baseball in general, right?
Baseball and golf. If you want to take a nap, watch baseball or golf. Yeah,
that's very fair. Well, and of course, that's the pot calling the kettle black, right? I'm in 2 fantasy leagues this year for football. Now, with that being said, I'm not going to watch hardly any of the games, but I do it to make sure other people lose. So it's very exciting. I'm actually having a dead ringer pick my teams for me, and he and I are going to discuss what picks I need to have every week. And as long as I can make just a few people knock down a peg or 2, I'm very excited. So let's freaking do it. And also, it's just fun to play. It's like, well, yeah, I mean, it is, but I'm definitely not taking it seriously. I am
so fun to take your money too, right?
It's great. If I can be one more peg up the ladder than a few choice people, I'm in. So. It's absolutely fantastic. But that was something wild to get into last year because that's just a crapshoot, man. I mean, with all of the with all of the people being injured or people being sick or bye weeks or, this one guy who averages, 20 points a game or whatever. Well, against this one team, he averages 2. And then the sporting or the algorithm, right, that tries to tell you this guy is going to go nuts this week. That's not inherently true, right? I mean, if you played just by the statistics alone, you would come middle to low end of the pack every single time, which, I mean, granted is kind of the thing. Like, there's a bit of the magic there because the guy who won, I think, won last year and got either first or second the year before, right? So, I mean, there is a bit of strategy and I would say intuition built into it, but it's hilarious to buy them wins, man, because still feels good, even if they're purchased, because it just means a few choice people aren't winning. So
yeah, I had lunch with a Toronto's Blue Jays fan,
oh my goodness,
and a New York Yankees fan. So I got to listen to them whine and moan about their teams with their standings. I think they got about 30 more games, maybe 35 more games. And then it'll be World Series time or playoff time.
Yeah, playoff time, yeah. Which, I mean, isn't too bad. Like, we like baseball playoffs. Why is that, you ask? Because it means it's just colder around the places we live. Because, Jesus, I'm tired of 85-plus degree weather, man. That just gets so old so fast. And then it's just silliness.
Pretty exciting today. The sun came out today for about 6 hours. It's been cloudy for about 2 months, it seems like.
Here you
the
go.
Sun came out.
Here, I'll help you. Help you here.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So there you go. But China is running drones over parts of Taiwan, and Taiwan shot one down the other day. And the global strategist said, with the Russia at war in Ukraine and China positioning themselves to take over Taiwan, you're looking at the next global conflict.
Perfect. Let's do it. Rip the freaking Band-Aids off, man.
Instead of politicians being out there talking about the bullshit they're talking about, they need to be telling the American people, you need to get ready, because there's going to be a global conflict, or there's going to be World War III here if things stay on the track they're on.
So,
and everybody's oblivious to it because our Navy's not ready.
Okay.
Our Navy's not ready. Our Air Force is in the shitter.
How do you know?
How do you know everybody? This? They're woke. They're woke, and they're worried about gender hiring, and they're not training like they used to. And now they're starting to retire ships and planes and things that they probably should keep on the ready. So
do we need a defense budget that is like 10 times greater than the next 6 people combined?
You don't need a new defense budget. You need somebody running it that knows how to run the military instead of these guys that are running it now. Obviously, they don't have any idea what they're doing. But it's okay. It's okay. Just write down the date and say, Tom said that the next global conflict is on the way, and everybody's just going along with life. They're going to soccer practice, and they're going to Cub Scouts, and they're going to do all this stuff. And
what would you rather have them do? Live in fear?
No, but be aware. Be aware.
How can you tell if someone is aware? Don't you think that they would want to continue functioning normally to try to make their children's lives seem normal?
Sure.
Well, I mean, answer that question. What would you have the parents do, right?
Be studious and be aware. I'm not saying you've got to change your everyday living, but be aware and be prepared for anything could happen. Anything. The way Biden's running this camp, man, and have you heard about the rainbow fentanyl pills?
No. Sounds
rainbow
wild,
they're like Skittles. They're like Skittles. And people are popping them in and they're dying. It's like 300 deaths a day from fentanyl overdoses. Oh, well, Junior he's only 17 years old, and he went to school and he came home and he popped one of these pills and he was dead in an hour. It's happening every day, man. Every day. The cartels in China are making millions and millions of dollars off of the fentanyl they're bringing into the United States, killing our kids. They're killing our kids. China furnishes this stuff to Mexico, and the cartels are either taking what they've already made and bringing it in, or they're sending it to their drug distribution factories and making it and bringing it in. That's fact, man. That's a fact. So, I mean, what happened to Dare?
How do we
remember
Dare? Dare statistically was proven. No, Dare was statistically proven to go in the other direction. It introduced more people to. No.
You educated the young people about drugs and not to do them, and what would happen to them.
It wasn't not to them, man.
They didn't educate you?
No, they did. And you know what they did? They told me drugs are bad. You know how many freaking drugs I had to catch up on to keep pace, man? Give me a fucking break, dude. Dare bullshit. Like, it's even shown that actually went in the opposite direction. And then, like, the war on drugs. I can't believe
that you would argue with me about drug overdoses.
Oh, my goodness. Well, here's the deal. I'm not arguing with you about them, but you're presenting some things, and I'm saying, well, look at this sort of a thing. Like, it's just some of that stuff.
I'm trying to help the little people. You know what I mean?
What little people?
The young people. I'm trying to help the young people be aware of what's going on around them.
So, okay, don't eat Skittles, basically, is what Tom's telling you there. Like,
don't eat Skittles.
Yeah, don't eat Skittles. Like, it's something too where let's look at it like this. If you tell someone not to do something, their very first inclination, especially as a young person, is going to be, no, I must do this, right? I mean, it's also something too where you don't want to try and scare people, because education is correct. Like, people should know about things, but there's also a difference too in, like, I knew all about it and I didn't go bananas then. But,
Okay.
And I mean, if someone's like, hey, eat this, I mean, there is a difference too between people being educated about something versus someone just saying, I want to do something to be cool, right? Like, there is a very big difference, because
they're trying to make heroin legal in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
If Fetterman gets elected to the Senate, he's trying to make heroin legal and have shoot up depots.
Yeah.
Hey, let's pull over here and let's shoot up.
No,
we'll look out for you.
No, they have studies like that in certain European countries where it's treated much more like a disease than it is an addiction, or the addiction is a disease. And something that's wild is, in those studies, they have houses like that, right? Where it's a scenario, you go in and you're like, hey, I'm going to shoot up. And they say, fine, that's totally fine. And then, like, less than 10% of the people stop. They just eventually stop, because it's about making the person better, not making them stopping doing the only thing that makes them feel like they don't want to perish, essentially, or stop existing. So, no, I totally understand that. And it's something too where, like, tax the shit out of all the drugs, man, and then make them all legal. Like, okay.
With your 87,000 new armed IRS agents?
Go for it, man.
Tax the shit out of the drug
streets. Yeah, like, shit.
Start knocking down the doors of the stash houses and stuff, and
just
season the money.
Tax it, man. The money. You want to get out of debt America? Just make every drug legal and tax the fuck out of it, and then you be
there. You go. Okay, that sounds good. So you were going to talk about going to a funeral.
I was. So yesterday, went to a funeral and just kind of wanted to, like, think on that a little bit and ponder a little bit of it. Beautiful service. It's very interesting. Also, I wanted to kind of make a point of talking about it. It's interesting, the procedure in which people do things, and it's all purely family or regional based and whatnot, because on one side of my family, the second the graveside service that they're done talking, like climbing over each other to get away. Like they don't want to see the finality of the entombing, basically, right?
Right.
And then I've been to certain places or certain services in the very recent past, especially the one yesterday, where they go from start to finish. I mean, that person is buried before you walk off, right? So it's a very unique sort of differences there. And to that end, I mean, everyone around the world has different experiences, right? Like certain people, they have funeral pyres, right? Well, they'll light the body on fire. It's very, a spiritual thing and whatnot. Then some people around the world have tombs, right? That they put their deceased in and keep up with those like very carefully. I'm thinking about like certain Eastern countries, they'll have tomb sweeping day, stuff like that. And there are some that celebrate, like, Day of the Dead, right? Where they celebrate that sort of a thing. Or look at down in Louisiana, right? I mean, they have parades, right? You go down the street and they take the person down to to their proverbial tomb or grave and whatnot. And it's just kind of interesting to see how everybody or many cultures do things differently, and it's pretty cool to just kind of see the differences. But even as different as some of those other traditions may be, it's still vastly different even here, right? Because, like I said, some folks or some families are just, see ya, no, I'm out. Like we stop talking, that they're still around, whatever, and they leave. And then you have some where, no, it's it. Like we're waiting until they are in the ground, they are covered in dirt, and it's over, right? So, just kind of it's
interesting down here. We've seen. I'm assuming that there are funeral marches, and they'll have a pickup truck, and the casket in the back of the pickup truck completely covered with flowers, and there could be from 50 to 500 people.
Oh, sure,
walking behind them, and they'll walk. I don't know if they're going to the church or the synagogue, or if they're going to the final resting place. But it was interesting here the first time we got caught in that. And I don't mean caught in it, but it's the first time we witnessed it.
Yeah, I got to experience it, right? I mean,
you stop at a red light and, 300 people walk by and you got the light changes, like 10 times before they all get walking. And nobody honks and nobody says anything, and everybody just kind of wastes their turn. And yeah, so it was interesting. We've seen that about 3 different times down here, but anywhere from 50 people to 500, man. I mean, just some huge long lines at times. So yeah, I haven't followed it to see where they were, followed that culture to see how they do that. Like you said, Day of the Dead down here, that's a huge celebration where they're, celebrating everybody's life, that's not here anymore. So yeah, different cultures have different things go on.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and it's something too that everybody's different, and there's just a bunch of different things happening, and everyone kind of pays respects in a different way. And one thing that I thought also was interesting, especially from this latest thing I've gone to, is it's no longer called the funeral. It's no longer called visitation, right? Everything is a celebration of life, and the gathering of friends and family. It's something where they've taken the very possibly antiquated nomenclature about it, right? The jargon around that sort of a thing, and said, no. We got to put a positive spin on this, because we're not like that industry, because it very much is an industry, is not going to survive if you keep such a negative connotation on the whole experience of people passing. I mean, it is a part of life. I mean, it wouldn't be life without people passing and moving on. But yeah, it's kind of interesting. And you want to talk about people like, I mean, it's rough, and it takes a pretty special person to be able to help folks around that time, right? When they're I would say at some times they're most vulnerable. But shit's expensive, man. Like that is not a cheap process, and it is that way by design. I mean, it's not meant to be cheap, and it's something where you think, okay, this is the last potential time I spend money on this person, presumably, and then not that they're trying to prey upon people, but it doesn't seem like they're trying to help them out. Really,
Right.
I mean, it's just kind of
Well,
wild.
I consider death a part of life. So if it happens, it's part of the cycle. And I guess having been told a couple of times in the last 5 to 6 years that you're going to die if you don't do this, or possibly do this, you could still die. And I've been told that with the cancer and told that with open heart surgery. And so it's like, you talk about somebody with a really bad attitude now, it's like, well, I made it through that and here I am. So there's got to be a reason I'm here and there's a mission that I need to be on. But yeah, death is, it probably doesn't faze me like it phases a lot of people, but that's just me and everything that's going on. So, yeah.
Well, and it's also something too, and I mean, knock on wood, I mean, for you, like, you got to look at it from a perspective as well. I mean, people who are close to you, like, haven't necessarily passed away, right? And it's vastly different between, okay, it's you, right? Because you're not going to care if you're gone. I mean, that's just how that works. But
oh, shucks.
I know. But the whole thing of, well, and obviously just think about this, don't discuss it, but when somebody really close to you has passed on, and it's like, I mean, you've had some instances, but there's also a difference in, someone, I mean, real close and real tight, just for people in general. I mean, it's going to affect them pretty negatively or pretty harshly. I mean, and you've had a few people who, you've been real tight with, and it's like that would alter my perspective, like it has in the very recent past. And it's like, it's not something where you want to think about it in a negative light, but you definitely think about things differently. And
yes.
one thing that 100% happened was, in the last 6 months to a year, when someone really close to me passed away, I stopped fretting about work. I mean, just straight up, because this person didn't have that opportunity or experience to enjoy what they had sowed effectively, right?
Right.
And
right.
I thought to myself, fuck that. Like, that is absolutely ridiculous. And it's, I mean, it's always very saddening to think about it. And it's something that just, I'm like, no, I'm good. Like, I'm not gonna fret over this. It's not going to be, that's not going to be how I function moving forward. And, it's all good. Like, I
was talking to your sister the other day about that. And I said, she said something about taking some time off. And I said, that job's going to be there when you go back. They're not going to, just because you took a half a day off or just because you took one day off, they're not going to replace you, especially with all the lazy assholes they got out there now that don't want to work. They're not going to replace you. And I think about all the times that I worked and was afraid to take off, because I didn't want to miss a day. And now, what did it get me? It didn't get me a damn thing. It didn't get me a damn thing. I'm no better off not missing any days of work than I was if I'd have missed, however many I needed to.
Right.
So, yeah.
Well, and it's something too.
I'll tell anybody now, you don't have to go every day. You don't have to go every day. You don't have to. You don't have to. But when you leave or when you die, they're going to have your job posted on the internet before your obituary is written.
Oh yeah, 100%.
It's just how they are. So
hold up. It's not how they are. That's the nature of business.
No, that's the. There's no loyalty. There's no loyalty.
It's not loyalty to keep your job open, man. Like, they got to keep functioning.
I'm just saying it's not okay.
But do you understand why I'm hitting that point? It's not that they're not being loyal. They're not doing. No.
I thought I was being loyal, but I wasn't. I wasn't being true to myself.
That's the thing. You put the business before yourself. They are not going to do that with you, and that's not a fault of anybody or any entity. That's just the nature of business, right?
Right.
It's not up to them to care about Tom or Jay or whomever.
And only wish that I knew then what I knew now. But why won't young people listen when you try to tell them that, or when you talk to them about things like that? Why do they think that you don't have any idea what you're talking about when you've experienced some of the things in life? Why don't people take your advice or listen to you when you try to explain things to them? Why do you think that is?
So
I'm listening.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna tell you. So buckle the fuck up. I'm gonna say two things. One, about that specifically. One, I have a brother in arms who I love very dearly, and I do anything for him. He only learns through failure and embarrassment. That's how he learns. He will learn that lesson forever, but he's got to be embarrassed. He's got to fail. I mean, hard, right?
Okay.
He'll learn it, but it has to be very specific to those two things.
Okay.
The other thing is this. Why should anybody listen to you? I mean, don't take this in a bad ego way, but why in the world would anyone listen to you?
I know everything.
Sure, and keep saying that, right? I mean, it's a scenario. Look at everything about you and me and everybody who probably is around us. Why should anybody listen to anybody? What have you done? And of course, in this instance, we're thinking about you. In this instance, what have you done to prove that someone should listen to a damn thing you have to say? And thanks so much for listening to our podcast, our lovely 56 subscribers. Like, comment, and subscribe. That's the segue into there. But what in the world have you done to warrant?
And we have 2 subscribers. We have 2 subscribers in Saudi Arabia.
That is absolutely wild, man.
Yeah. We're worldwide now, baby.
Worldwide.
That's right. Yeah, get on that train.
Roll up, right? But
yeah, get on that train.
So, and I mean, and that's as mildly humorous as that is, but
it's life experiences. If I've done something,
but your life isn't like theirs. That's the whole point.
If there is an experience similar, and I can relate what the outcome was, then I try to help by relating what the outcome is.
Do you think for a second that folks know that you're going to bitch about them not listening to you later?
No, I'm not bitching. I quit bitching a long time. When I retired, I quit bitching. I ain't no sense in bitching.
Me, sir. Not bitching, just expressing opinions on a podcast. So, to that end, because one of the things that I think a lot of people is around me, myself in general, Life General Podcast, Tom and Jay, have an issue with is assuming positive intent. Okay. Now, think about it like this. Do people assume you have positive intent when you may offer advice to them, which they probably didn't ask for, because that's a Darden trait? Yeah, it's worth what you paid for it. So,
yeah, it is.
To that end, why in the world would they listen to you? If for one, they're not assuming positive intent, and two, your life is probably nothing like theirs. And even though you might have a morsel of or a nugget of wisdom, look at you.
It's free. It's free.
And that's the point, right? Like, there's no perceived value in what you have to say. I mean, where's the value? And I mean that just in general. Like, with you, with me, with everybody. Why in the world are they going to listen to anything we have to say?
They're not. They're not going to listen. People quit listening a long time ago, man.
You say that like anybody was ever listening ever, and that's the whole like generational people stopped listening after my generation, and then the next generation comes along like people stopped listening after my generation, and then the spoon up my ass. Like, it's like no one gives a fuck, man. Like, no one has ever been listening, and that's one of the whole points, right? Like,
yes.
Excuse me. No one's listening. Wrong. right? Like, no one gives a fuck, man. And that's fine. Let people live in their little bit of ignorant bliss before we're all incinerated. Like, it's totally fine, man. So
Okay.
don't
Cool.
worry about or don't question people's ignorance. Like, we are that way by design, especially nowadays. Like, we get fed so much jargon or so much bullshit that we do have to tune it out.
One of the volcanoes around here erupted last week, and the ash was so heavy that planes couldn't land at the airport.
No shit, that's wild.
Yeah. And they circled for like an hour and a half because we knew some people that were on one of the planes, and then they flew back to Miami.
Wow, holy smokes!
And they had to put them up at a hotel and give them food vouchers and stuff, and fly out the next day.
I'm very excited that the plane had enough fuel to loop around and make it back.
I was thinking the same thing. They show you that flotation device and how it works and all that kind of stuff. Well, if I'm flying from Atlanta to Las Vegas, show me a chair that'll bounce out of a cornfield, man. We're not going over any water, so you don't have to waste your time showing me that.
No. The best ride we ever flew on was the one going back, I think, the first time. And that plane goes zoom, and it just drops like 10 feet, and everyone's like, "Oh my god!" Right? And the trays and shit are lifting up off
drinks
the
go flying up in the air, and chips or whatever.
Fucking crazy, man! Like that. God, that was insane. Because I'm like, oh no, there it is. Like everyone's like, shit their pants instantaneously.
Yeah. It's not like if a piece falls off, you're going to know it. It's like, wait a minute, what was that sound?
Yeah, man. I mean, it was just straight up. So I was like, yep, bye, y'all.
Yeah,
so.
That's flying's pretty crazy. But to bring that up, it's only 4 hours from Miami to Ecuador.
Yeah, it's not bad.
2 hours from Miami to Nashville. So. Yeah, it's only a little 6-hour gig, so it's not like we're living on the South Pole or something where it takes.
Honestly, no, it's not terrible. But understand this: like, it's not as though you go plane. It's plane, or no, pardon me. It's walk a little, security, walk a little more security, fly, cool, more walking, more security. Make sure they don't crawl up your ass for something. Now you're actually at your destination. So like 10 hours later, you're good, but no, fuck all that.
They're trying to make TSA easier to go through. They're working on that. I keep getting notifications about them changing TSA and changing it to facial recognition,
right.
All that kind of stuff. So yeah, they're trying to make that easier in some of the major airports where it's easier to travel.
Well,
through there,
that's
they can
not too
move
bad.
people through. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
and I mean, it's something like facial recognition, super cool, and it's like, what?
Yeah.
Nobody cares, you know.
Because nobody's listening anyway, right? That's right.
Yeah, I mean, it's a scenario where they go, cool, facial recognition, this, that, yada, yada. And then, I mean, everything eventually can be hacked or overdone or, manipulated and blah, blah, blah. So it is what it is. But.
It's funny. You talk about different cultures. I was talking to a guy the other day from China, and he went to Japan for a year as an exchange student.
Oh, cool.
At the university. So I asked him, I said, well, what did you find the difference between, the Chinese culture and the Japanese culture? And it was interesting. You wouldn't think there would be that much difference in the two, but
no,
yeah, it's huge.
Yeah, you would.
It's huge.
Asian countries, love you all our subscribers out there who are in Asian countries, they do not like each other very much. So.
No, they don't. They don't. And I talked to somebody from Turkey. It is all in the same day. Somebody from Turkey, somebody from Saudi Arabia, somebody from Tokyo, and then somebody from Japan in a different part of Japan. So that was an interesting Wednesday morning. Yeah, to talk to the people all over.
I was going to say, have you asked any of your Japanese students or conversationalist pupils where the best places in Japan are to go if you wanted to travel there a little bit, get the inside scoop?
I have not. Several have asked me, have I been to Japan or have I been to China? And I have not been to Europe at all. Now I've been to Canada several times, been to Mexico several times, and now I've been to South America several times. But I haven't made it to. I used to think I'd want to go to Australia, but I started doing some research on that. I think those people are out of their mind down there now with the.
Why don't you want to go to, or why did you want to go to Australia?
I just thought it'd be unique, to see the kangaroos and to see the outback and to see the different culture out of the different culture at Australia. Europe, of course, my brother's traveled all over Europe, but I just think it'd be interesting. I've got a buddy that's over in Spain right now. He and his lady are over in Spain walking the El Camino or walking the mile or something, whatever it is over there. So
I got a guy actually at work who, I don't have a guy. My buddy's got a guy who took off I think once or twice in his tenure for that he's been working with us, and that's what he's done. He's done the 2 weeks, and then a full week and a half of that is walking the El Camino or whatever it is, like a big spiritual journey, and he's done it. Yeah. And now, granted, this man used to teach Spanish all over the world, like in every Spanish-speaking country you can imagine. But he's done that. And that's pretty unique. But
yeah, international travel would be good. They're just now starting to lift, some of the restrictions, because that's another question I have is, can you travel out of country now? And some you can and some you can't. I talked to a guy from Georgia the other day, and not the one that borders Alabama. This is from the one that borders Russia. And Russia invaded it and took it over like they're doing in Ukraine several years ago. And he said, now we can travel out of country now. We couldn't before, but we can now.
Wow.
And China is starting to relax some of their restrictions on travel. First, you couldn't travel at all at the height of the pandemic. And then now it went to for business, and you had to prove that you had business and where you were going and what you were doing. But now it's such that you can travel. You're not free to move about the country, but you're still free to travel out of country.
That's cool.
If it warrants, because his kid, like he said, this was just last year that he was an exchange student for a year, to get, to see the different culture and stuff, which I think that's pretty interesting. So,
it's something that, if you can at all possible, it's definitely great to go see other places. Just to see the differences in culture and, in levels of wealth or technology or looking at traditions, just kind of doing a character study or a culture study just in general just is awesome.
Yeah, to listen to them talk sometimes about how long they go to school. They'll go to school from 8 a.m. at the university till 10 o'clock at night. And I'm like, excuse me, what? Yeah. And they'll go to school and all day and on into the night. Even some of the high schools.
Wow.
They'll go in at school will start at 8 and they get done at 5, but they don't go home till 7 or 7:30 or something like that, because they're still teaching and learning. And it's pretty interesting.
Well, there's a reason why their test scores are better than ours. So
it could be. They're pretty intense on their
education.
Intense.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, because they don't want idiots.
Well, and they teach them English in school.
Of course, yeah.
Almost at every level, they're teaching English, and I thought, that's pretty unique that a language would have that strong of a following, or that much of a basis that everybody in the world wants to learn it.
Well, it's not that it's basis; it's the international business language.
Right.
That's why they want people to know it.
Yeah, but if you talk to an Asian person that's been to New York or New Jersey, they're like, those people are crazy. I said, yeah, they walk fast, they talk fast, they drive fast, and they're like, yes, yes, yes. And they said, but you talk slow and we understand everything you say. And I said, that's because I'm from down south. and we don't go as crazy as the people up north. And they're like, yes, yes, yes. Everybody up there is
it definitely is something to something to say. We aren't trying to talk fast and work anybody over either, very much.
Right.
So.
Yeah, and we don't come. You came out of China and probably Shanghai or somewhere where there's 15 million people in your city. So everything is, all bumper to bumper and shoulder to shoulder, and everybody's crazy all day. So seeing the little bit of craziness in New York or New Jersey would be like what you see at home, I guess.
I mean, to a degree. However, at that point, then just no one speaks your language, and then it's just like zoom. So.
And I talked to a guy the other day. He was from Japan, and he walks an hour to work every day, and he walks an hour home. But his boss requires him to come into the office. So he was talking to me while he was walking home.
Oh, interesting.
That night, he was talking to me while he was walking home that night. And the guy was really, really sharp, and his English was very good. And you could tell he was walking down the street because, you could see the
you see everything go by him.
He wasn't driving. You could tell he was walking because the stuff was going by slow, and people would walk by him on the sidewalk and stuff. And we had a really good conversation for 30 minutes while he was walking home. So finally, after about 25 minutes into the conversation, he sat out on a bench and he said, "Yeah, I walk an hour to work and I walk an hour home at night every day.
Wow,
5 days a week. Yeah, because they have to be in their office and stuff." And I'm like,
yeah. That's pretty cool. Something that would be it would be interesting if you could pull it off. It would be, of course, you probably don't know what Twitch is, but it's a service or a website in which people just broadcast kind of what's happening in their life, right? So, and you have people who walk around Japan, walk around New York, walk around. Some people just sit in the hot tub. You can even do this now where people sleep on it. It used to be against the terms of service, but people can just fucking take a nap and you just sit there and watch or talk to other people who are watching. And it's just something that everyone can do at the same time. Some people would watch movies together. I'm like, hey, we're going to have movie night. Everyone come. And, you have 10,000 people watching some old shitty movie. And that would be an awesome Twitch channel. It would be your Cambly or one of your friends' Camblys, where you say, hey, we're going to get on and talk to, Xi Jinping, Al from China. So let's see what we're at. Like, where we're like, what we're going to talk about. And so what's going to happen is you don't interact with the people, right? Like the viewers while this is happening, but instead you do your thing. And then after you hang up, you then talk to the channel and say, well, that was pretty cool. Like what sort of questions should I ask somebody from there? Like, oh, are you from there? That's super cool and all that. And then they kind of get into it. It would be a little too invasive, a little too personal. Because, of course, people don't expect you to broadcast or record these conversations. Not that you couldn't, because you very well could. But once people caught wind of that, they'd be like, hey, screw that. But that would be a very, I think, interesting Twitch channel, which would be, hey, I'm going to go work at Cambly. I'm going to talk to 5 people today, and they're going to be from 4 different continents, and let's go. And then you just do it for a few hours. Because, I mean, people on Twitch, they may once a year go like 24 hours, but normally they're just on for a few hours at a time and then they peace out. So that'd be kind of cool to just it would be like just chatting or something like that would be the genre. And then you go and talk to your folks, and I mean, kind of slick.
One of the ladies that I talked to, she's from China, I think, is putting together an international forum, and she's got a bunch of young people coming into their city.
Oh, cool,
for a few days. And I said, well, what is the theme? And one theme is cyberbullying and how to prevent it or what causes it. And I thought, man, that's pretty cool. They're all the way on the other side of the world. Got the same problems we do. The second one was gang violence with youth and what makes young people join gangs and things like that. And I thought, yeah. And they have a forum and they all come together and get ideas. And then they go to an international board and they present these ideas or solutions. And yeah, I thought, well, that's pretty neat. So, because they're experiencing the same thing everybody else experiences.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, I would say definitely if you found people or found cultures who were, especially around the same like technologically advanced places. I mean, people in the world are going to have the same basic tendencies, right? Like they're going to be assholes. Some are going to be caring. Some are going to be dicks. Some are going to be nefarious. It's going to happen everywhere, all the time. Like there now are definitely certain different intrinsic differences in like Western versus Eastern cultures to a degree, but also,
Right.
that's just kind of how it is. But
Yeah,
yeah,
that was
cyberbullying,
neat.
yeah, for sure. Like if you have a cell phone or you have access to the internet, you've probably been bullied in some way or have witnessed it somehow. So
Yeah, I can't wait to see the forum is in September. So I can't wait to see what the outcome of it is and some of their solutions, that they come up with or why they think things are happening. That'd be pretty interesting.
well, and that's something that's kind of interesting to think about. There is, you're talking about bullying. Okay, well, cyberbullying. Okay, well, that can get really intense. Well, one of the ways you effectively stop a bully is if it's happening in person specifically. Well, they get a good ass whooping. They don't bully as much anymore because they understand there are consequences to their actions. Bullying, on the World Wide Web, that's a whole different ball game, right? Because it is going to be very rare, at least from my understanding, and let us know down in the comments below if I'm wrong. If you're a cyberbully, there aren't that many consequences for you other than like your account getting banned. No one's going to reach for the screen and wring your fucking neck because you're being an asshole to everybody. They're just going to be an asshole. So
Right. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. So, oh, wait, what's today?
it's Thursday.
The
September
1st
1st.
of September 1st. Okay, cool.
Then you September. So hilariously enough, you talk about Cambly and talk about different languages and cultures and whatnot. That's kind of been a little running theme today. Our one of the guys who works with us actually went to college for a long time to be a linguist and go and teach in Japan. Well, he learned that probably wasn't going to work out best for him, and he very much, like, every day he logs in, says, "Hello, the Japanese word of the day is this." And I'm like, "That's so cool." And of course, his word today was September. And I said, "Well, hey, the next 3 words you do should be earth, wind, and fire." So.
Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
I thought you'd get a kick out of that. So no one else did, but I'm here to amuse myself, not anybody else. So fuck y'all.
That's right. There you go.
We love everyone out there who listens, and we really appreciate everyone hanging out with us for a hot minute and giving us a part of your precious time. Not in the slightest.
Right.
We most certainly aren't.
Yeah.
How we have 56 subs now is beyond me. So anybody who listens, likes, comments, does any of that stuff, we very much appreciate your feedback and your engagement, because we understand your life's busy. It is complicated, and it is not easy in the slightest. So yeah, it's good stuff. We're about out of time here. We'll kick it off, or we'll polish off this proverbial turd here with anything else you might want to talk about there, good sir.
Oh, I'm good. I'm very good. I've got power. I've got internet connection. I've got light. I'm alive.
Interesting thing where in other parts of the world, i.e. the place you used to live, you never had to worry about having power, internet, or any of that stuff. So, hey, you made your bed, so lie in it.
I know, right?
Good luck, Biddy. All right, y'all. Well, it is one of my good friends. He hates the saying, "It is what it is," because he said it's the coward's way
too.
out. So
I do too. I hate that, man.
most certainly. So instead, piss somebody off by having a very strong opinion. So thank you all so very much for watching the Life in General podcast here with Tom and Jay, and we will catch you all, lovely, awesome viewers and subscribers, in the next episode.
See you next time.